Welcome back. The ANC has come under fire after members allegedly assaulted the Speaker of the Tshwane Council. The multi-party government, in the city says it will be laying charges against the councillors. This comes after an attack on Speaker Murunwa Makwarela inside council chambers during spirited discussions on Tuesday. The ANC's regional spokesperson in the Greater Tshwane Area, Bafuze Yabo, joins me now to discuss this. Thank you very much, Mr. Yabo, for your time this evening. Can you tell us what's your response to these allegations, because they're relatively serious?
Well, good evening to you and to the viewers. The allegations that have been made, our view on them is that they are baseless and they are just spurious allegations. The Speaker of the Council of the City of Tshwane was not beaten up, as he alleges. He was prevented from leaving the council chambers because he wanted to collapse a council meeting that was sitting physically, having planned that he will reconvene the very same council sitting on the virtual platform 2 hours later, flouting the very laws that the DA purport to be champions of, because notices to council meetings need to follow certain specific procedures. And so you can't collapse a meeting only to reconvene it on the virtual platform 2 hours later. And it shows the level of desperation with which the Speaker of Council, together with his DA acolytes, have reached to usurp power that is not intended for abuse in the manner that they are abusing it.
So this is, I guess, very much going to be a case of he said, she said. And in this instance, the Speaker, who is an impartial member of the council, says that the opposite is true, that ANC councillors did not want certain reports to be adopted at this meeting, were preventing those reports from being adopted purposefully, and that in the interest of democracy, the physical council meeting had to be collapsed to go to a virtual platform where the ANC councillors were less able to disrupt the proceedings. What's your response to that?
Now let's debunk the myths and deal away with the various untruths that have been leveled against the African National Congress caucus. First and foremost, to put the facts on the table, the DA had members that were not able to attend council physically, which had literally disenabled them to pass the motion for a 1 billion rand loan, a report that they had put together. And because these councillors could not make it physically, and the reasons for these councillors, some of them not being able to make it physically to council, is because they had submitted letters of signals, request for leave of absence, which had been duly approved. Some of these members of the DA caucus are not even in the country. And so we see this as just another way of the DA and its acolytes trying to usurp powers that it doesn't have by literally contravening the laws of this country in the name of democracy. And it is the same DA, if you would remember, that went to court to challenge the administration that had been imposed on the city, where the court said that councillors must attend council sittings and remain there physically to deal with the business of the day. Today is the very same DA which says to the ANC they are able to leave council unceremoniously, disregarding a very order of the court to which they went to seek relief just a couple of years ago. That is hypocritical, if you ask me.
What is the ANC's response to the criminal charges?
They are spurious, baseless, they are untrue. There is no footage that shows the ANC councillors physically harming the Speaker. The Speaker has styled himself the trigger man of the DA coalition. He has become a full-on self-serving puppet of the DA coalition-led government. There is no truth. He must produce physical evidence of a medical report from a doctor that says he was harmed from what took place in council. There is no such. No council of the ANC laid a hand on Speaker Magwarela. They simply prevented him from trying to collapse a meeting of councillors in the council chambers by leaving unceremoniously.
While obviously the courts will yet determine what the outcome is of those criminal charges, I'm sure you must agree with me that this kind of a situation within the council does not serve the interests of democracy. And ultimately, it is the citizens of Tshwane who lose out. While this infighting happens, there's a delay in service delivery, and we know that coalitions in South Africa have been problematic. Some analysts have said that we're going through an inevitable phase of adjustment where both residents of South Africa and politicians in South Africa need to find their footing and need to learn how coalitions are going to work productively in the future. Is the ANC willing to take part in these kind of government structures for the benefit, ultimately, of residents, to try and put behind us all these kind of scenes where we have claims being made, counterclaims being made, and ultimately, at the end of the day, residents are the ones who suffer?
I think, let me make the point that we have a perfect example of the African National Congress having led a coalition in recent years. And this is the story of Ekurhuleni. Between the years 2016 and 2021, the ANC led a coalition of parties, a multi-party government in Ekurhuleni. And there is a good story to tell. However, we cannot say the same for DA-led coalitions. They are stumbling from one scandal to the next, one failure to the next, one maladministration scandal to the next. It can no longer be ignored. The story or the myth, the fallacy that is being peddled by the DA that wherever they govern correctly within the ambit of law, their government is good, it's serving to the people. That is not true. We have seen in the north of Tshwane that wards are having sewer running in the streets every day. The sewer tender has been cancelled in March already. If you log a call to have a sewer problem fixed, you are literally going to wait between a week, 2 weeks, sometimes even a month before that issue not working. Potholes are seen everywhere in the city. The construction sites have literally stood still. There's no money to pay contractors. As of this week, the city owed a staggering 2.4 billion to service providers. They are unable to pay for services to be provided to the people.
I do apologize for interrupting you, but I think this is exactly a case in point where, given a question where I've asked you whether the ANC is willing to move forward. Once again, there's a situation, and this comes from both sides. This comes from the DA, this comes from many political parties, where that opportunity is then used again to sling mud instead of to move forward. And I guess the only answer for South Africans is going to lie at the polls. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Bafuze Yabo, the ANC's regional spokesperson in the Greater Tshwane area.